Imagine that the most famous prison escape in history wasn't just an escape. Imagine that behind that cold June night, behind every tunnel dug with spoon, every raft stitched from stolen raincoats, there was something far deeper. A purpose, a secret buried beneath the stone foundation of Alcatraz Island. Something that wasn't meant to be found. Something that awoke. Before we dive into the shadows, hit that like button, subscribe, and let us know in the comments. Did they really escape? Or was something waiting for them? Because what you're about to hear might change the way you see Alcatraz forever. Built on jagged rock in the heart of San Francisco Bay, Alcatraz wasn't just a prison, it was a sentence to vanish. The worst of the worst were shipped there, men too dangerous, too notorious, or too clever for any other institution. Surrounded by frigid, shark-infested waters and swirling currents, patrolled by armed guards and watchtowers, escape was deemed impossible. Until June 1962, Walter Hiram, Edgar Franklin, Clyde Joseph. Officially, their names don't exist on the prison roster. Unofficially, they were the most dangerous minds the system had ever tried to contain. Not for violence, but for precision, intelligence, and silence. Their escape was legendary. Spoons scraping concrete, dummies made of soap and toilet paper. Raincoats turned into life vests. A raft floating away into the fog. But that's just the story they wanted us to believe. June 11th, 1962. The alarm didn't sound until morning. When the guards entered the cells, they found perfect replicas of sleeping prisoners. But the men were gone. The FBI launched one of the largest manhunts in U.S. history. Helicopters, boats, sonar sweeps, bloodhounds, but no bodies, no debris, nothing. The official report, published after 17 years of dead ends, declared them drowned, case closed. But then, the letters started arriving. Between 1963 and 1978, 4 anonymous letters reached California newspapers, and even a private investigator hired by one of the escapees' families. All were signed, Walter Hiram. Each one revealed information that had never been made public. The exact placement of the air vents they widened. The length of the tunnel measured in inches. The unique stitch pattern in the raincoat raft. Each letter passed multiple forensic analyses over the years. Handwriting varied slightly from one to the next, but the tone, the linguistic patterns, the deep familiarity with the prison's architecture, all eerily consistent. In 1978, the final letter included only one line. We weren't escaping from Alcatraz. We were being released. The FBI tried to trace the origin. Each envelope had been mailed from a different U.S. state, Florida, New Mexico, Oregon. But the stamps bore chemical residues found only in certain old military bases. No explanation was ever given. The files were quietly sealed in 1980. Two weeks after the escape, a park ranger on Angel Island discovered 3 distinct sets of footprints in the sand, 2 heading back to the shoreline and 1 vanishing inland. Under a collapsed root system, he found a rusted combat knife. On the blade, a hand-carved triangle with an eye at its center. The knife was logged into evidence and then mysteriously lost from federal records within a month. In 1965, a tugboat captain monitoring marine radio frequencies picked up a Morse code signal coming from somewhere in the bay. The message repeated 3 times, alive but not alone. Then silence. Despite the FBI closing the case in 1979, private investigators, amateur sleuths, and retired agents never stopped digging. In 1981, a classified report leaked to a former U.S. Marshal suggested that a team of divers found a submerged entrance beneath the eastern side of the island. Too symmetrical to be natural, with a sealed iron gate, they returned days later. The site was gone, collapsed or buried. In 2018, the San Francisco Police Department received a sealed envelope, postmarked from rural Argentina. Inside, a photograph of an elderly man sitting on a crumbling stone bench beside a cliff. Handwritten on the back, "You thought we drowned." The truth is much worse. We were never meant to escape. We were meant to be forgotten. No name, no fingerprint. But in the top right corner of the photo, the triangle with the eye. Some believe the truth lies beneath the surface, literally, that Alcatraz's construction in the 1930s was a cover for something older, a relic, a vault, a place built not to contain prisoners, but something far more ancient. In 2003, a sonar scan revealed a cavern 37 meters below the east cliff of the island. Days later, the survey team's funding was pulled. Their report redacted. One member later claimed, anonymously, "We didn't find a cavern. We found a door." Tourists today report strange sounds from the sealed lower levels. Bells tolling at irregular intervals. Whispering in foreign languages. Cold spots near cell block D. A former guide claimed to see a man in a 1960s prison uniform standing still behind a locked gate. When she opened it, he was gone. So what really happened? An impossible escape? A perfect plan? A second life under new names? Or something darker? Maybe Alcatraz was never meant to keep men in. Maybe it was built to keep something inside. And maybe, on that cold summer night in 1962, that something got out. Think the story ends here? We're only beginning to understand the depths. If this made you question everything you thought you knew, hit like, share it with someone who loves a good mystery. And don't forget to subscribe, because the island may be silent now, but some echoes never fade.